Hello, Donna here. In today's video, we're making an envelope trifold journal page. It very simply is a sheet of paper. We're using the full sheet of paper. Say for instance, you're using A4. The same applies if you're using a letter size sheet of paper. Doesn't matter whether you fold it in half and it's an A5 sheet, the same principle applies. All we're going to do is use the shape of the top of the letter, the envelope, and trace that out and cut it out and then fold it into three. It couldn't be simpler, yet it looks unreal in your journal. So I've just put a paper clip there and I've got lines in the middle for it to be used as a journal page, and it just clips in there. You can glue it all the way down if you wanted to, or you could glue it at the top and the bottom, and you could use it as a tuck spot here, and then just leave it to sit in your book like that. Now what I'm going to do is I will be supplying you the pattern. The pattern comes in two pieces, and that's because it takes up the whole width of the paper. So if you were to print this out, you would have a little bit of the top missing and the sides. So I've turned it around on its side and you get two pieces. You cut this piece out, you cut this piece out, and you match them back up, and you'll end up with a full pattern piece. I've also supplied it at 75% so you can make a cute small one. So this is at 75% and this is what it'll make. This here is just the most beautiful paper. It's almost like a fabric. So whatever paper you use, try and pick something that's white on the inside, or at least something that you can tea stain. And I've just picked this and I used my white gel pen. It's called Jelly Roll 10, this one. And this is a really good jelly pen to use, because when you use it on something dark like this, it actually works, and it works really well. So I've used it on the edge of this so it shows up really well. So that's it at 75%. And this is also what I mean by having it blank on the inside. So you can use any sort of paper you like. And when you print out your template, print it out on cardboard. And the reason is so that when you print it out on cardboard and you trace around the edges, your pencil has something to follow. It has a nice ridge to follow. If you print this out on paper, it's harder to trace around the edge, and if you use paper, you'll see exactly what I mean. So first off, print this out. Second, cut your two pieces out and put these two arrows together, or these diamonds. Put a little bit of glue down there. You don't need a lot, it's just got to be joined. Right, that's done. The reason I've done it this way is just so you can see where the fold marks are. If your paper is wider or narrower than the pattern piece, don't worry too much, because you've got your center mark here and you've got your edges. So say for instance, I've got two pieces of paper here. One's a book page, one's an A4 piece of paper. Right, this one here, I've used the full sheet of paper. This here is also out of a magazine. So it's like when you buy magazines, they sometimes give you some printed paper to use. This is perfect because one side's blank and one side's printed. So if you've got any magazines, go through them and pull out your printed papers. So we'll make one out of that today as well. Get your template and put it on your paper. Now you see when you tea dye your paper, it may shrink a little bit. I've lost a tiny little bit of width of this paper, and you can see that there, that this is an A4 sheet of paper and so is this, but because it got wet, the fibers have shrunk a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace out half of this piece here. What I'll do, I'll fold it in half first, and I'm just going to put a crease at the very top here. I'm not going to fold it all the way down the bottom because I don't want a fold line all the way down. I'm going to find the halfway point on my pattern piece, and I'm just going to get a pencil, make sure it's all straight down the side here, and trace that shape. Put it back to the halfway mark and just cut that out. And that'll transfer one side to the other side, and you don't have to worry about it being that tiny little bit narrower than the pattern piece. So that's how you work that part out. Rub off your pencil line, and that one's good to go. Then you put your pattern piece back down just there like that, so you've got a guide. Your length will always be the same. Work out which side you want on the inside of your journal page. Then just put your finger there and find that dotted line, which is your first fold, and fold that down. There's your second fold. Just put your finger there and find that mark and fold that down. You don't even have to put a pencil line on this piece of paper if you do it this way. Then you can come back and distress ink the edges. So there's a big difference between it being inked and not inked. You can use your lace pattern paper, which gives a stunning looking envelope journal page. This one here, I've done the edge in walnut stain. This one, I've done the edges using the distress ink in tea dye. This one, I've done the edges in the vintage photo. I'm just going to leave these like this because I don't know which journal I'm going to put them in yet. So I'm just going to put these in my stash and see what happens later on. When you're folding these sorts of things, you've got to look at which way this image is going to work out for you. So for this, if you want that facing that way and that way, you've got to have a look at it to see which way it's going to fold for you. So if you wanted it facing that way and that way, just do a little test run like that. Then you put your pattern piece back on there. So just make sure if you don't want it that way, it's going to be upside down. You might prefer it that way. I think I might like that on the front. Now I can go ahead and cut out. So there's one using the book page. So pop on over to my website, grab yourself a copy of this template. It's just handy to have this shape here if you're not used to just doing things freehand. Grab yourself a copy of this template and make as many of these lovely little trifold envelope journal pages as you like. I'm Donna. Thanks for watching and bye for now.